Welcome to Ground Control and episode 19 of the Pilot's Lounge. I had no idea I had made so many of these. I got my timer going so I don't get too long-winded. I've got my notes. I've got my Papal glasses. And I've got my coffee. So I'm good to go, at least for a little while. Okay, first off, as usual, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank my patrons. You guys not only support us through our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, but you donate funds every month. You pledge funds every month to help support us and what we're trying to do. And I am absolutely humbled by your support, and it is greatly appreciated. I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to our YouTube channel, who gives us a thumbs up instead of a thumbs down on our videos. I want to thank everyone who follows us on our Facebook page. We try to put out a lot of useful information on our Facebook page, as well as notifications of new releases of our videos on YouTube. Things like our setup files for our aircraft, our OpenTX model files we provide on our Facebook page so that you can download them, use them, import the model file if you wish to. I want to thank everyone who uses our affiliate links when they purchase something. I try to provide a link to whatever it is that we are testing, reviewing, flying, discussing in the video. So I try to provide links, our affiliate account links, in the show notes, easy to find, easy to use. I would estimate that probably no more than 10% of the people who buy a product based on our testing and review actually use our affiliate account. Please use the affiliate account. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. We get a small commission, which helps us buy additional products to review, which is what I like to do. And I get a lot of requests to review different planes, different aircraft, different components. And I wish that I could review everything that people request, but we've got a very limited amount of funds, and so I have to really be careful and be picky and choosy about what I lay down the money for to buy and review. I would like to review everything, but we just don't have the budget to be able to do that. So I hope you understand that. I think that the YouTube channel is becoming a little more popular in 2021 because I'm attracting more trolls on the channel, and I used to only see those once in a great while, almost like they were an endangered species, and now I'm seeing them more frequently. So I guess that means that we're becoming more popular because we're attracting more trolls. So thumbs up to trolls. Thanks for that. Okay, so projects that I have going on, or projects that I've just completed. One thing I wanted to talk about was the 3S Plus power system. If you guys have watched our flights of the EDF jets, the Viper, the F-16, the F-86, the T-33, and you see the difference between the amount of power and performance that those jets have on a 3S LiPo and how much more power they have on a 3S Plus power system, there's just no comparison. I mean, I knew when I first set one up that way it was going to have some additional power, but I was completely surprised at just how much additional power it had. It's like a completely different jet. So the 3S Plus power system works like this. Because I don't think I explained it very well in the videos. So it has a 30 amp speed controller. I didn't have a 40 amp speed controller to put in these EDF jets. They're designed for a 3S LiPo. I wanted to fly it with a 4S LiPo, but I didn't want to burn up the speed controller. So here's what I do. Okay, so I have a full range with the 3S LiPo in the jet. I program the high end and the low end of the throttle so that the ESC sees the full range of the throttle. Okay, I find out on a 4S, without limiting the throttle, how high I could go on the throttle range without pushing past 30 amps. That's my number. For a couple of the jets, that was around 77% of the throttle with a 4S LiPo. So then I take that 77%, and then I go into the points range for the throttle channel, and I limit the top of the throttle point range from plus 100 to plus 77. Okay, that's how I set those up. As far as the ESC is concerned, it's already seen the full throttle range. It's just that the transmitter is not outputting past 77%. So the way I see it, that's not any different than flying around with the full 4S power but never pushing the throttle stick past 77%. The ESC doesn't know that the transmitter range is limited to 77% because I've already programmed it with the full range. So I hope that explains it a little bit better. So I'm not limiting the ESC in any way. All I'm doing is limiting the top end that the throttle is requesting of the ESC. So I hope that explains it better. Okay, so I'm going to try and do one more conversion. This is probably going to be the last conversion that I do for a while, because I want to get back to designing and building. After doing 2 or 3 different brushless conversions of existing factory planes, whether it's a 1S power brushless power system or a 2S brushless power system, there are instances where these conversions take as much time for me as designing and building a plane from scratch. And I would much rather design and build a plane from scratch rather than convert an existing plane, because when I design and build one from scratch, it's going to have all the features that I want right from the start. And typically, you know, my F-22 part jets, my Micro and my Mini, fly just as well as any factory plane that I have, and better than the vast majority of factory planes that I have. So, and if I ever need to build a new one, I've already got the templates to cut the foam out and build a new airframe. So it's easy. You know, the builds are extremely easy, a lot easier than the conversions, in my opinion. But if you watched my most recent test flight or fun flight with the Eachine Mini P-47, I took it out in, I would estimate, 12 to 16 mile per hour wind. I think by the time I finished, it was pushing over 16 miles per hour. But I took this little P-47 out, and as light as it is, and as little power as it has, and I performed a lot of aerobatic maneuvers with it in full manual mode in that wind. And after I did that, I mean, I was convinced at the stability of this airframe, and I'd already recommended this plane as a very good beginner plane. And that's the reason why, because this plane is this airframe is extremely stable, and it's very durable, and it makes a good starting plane for a beginner. Okay, that's why I recommended it. And now I'm convinced that this is going to be a good candidate for a 2S brushless conversion. So I can't make any promises. It's going to be low priority. I'm going to have to convert it when I have time. It may take a while before I get it completed, but I definitely want to attempt. I don't know if it'll be successful, but I want to attempt to convert this to a 2S brushless plane and then take it out and fly it as a high performance micro park jet. That's what I'm going to do with it. That'll be the last conversion that I do for quite a while. Okay, so setup files and OpenTX model files. Anytime that I have a plane that I'm going to keep, I will take out and fly and get it tuned to the point, get it set up and tuned to the point that I'm very happy with it, that it's performing the way that I want it to perform. And when I get it to that point, I will provide you with a setup file on our Facebook page. It's downloadable, you can print it, you can use it, you can view it on your computer, and you'll be able to set the plane up exactly how I have mine set up. You'll have all the information, including the throttle setting for hand launch. That will also be in there too. But you'll have all that information, even if you don't have a multi-protocol transmitter, even if the plane is not supported under OpenTX. At the very minimum, I will supply you with a setup file. So you can set it up the same way that you see me flying it in the video. If it's supported under OpenTX, I will also publish my model file, and it will be downloadable for you to use and import into your multi-protocol transmitter. If you have a transmitter similar to mine, the TX16S, the RadioMaster, I will also try to provide an image in the zip file with the OpenTX model file, so that you can also use the image file of the plane. I always like having an actual image of the actual plane, you know, in the transmitter to use with the model file. So I try to provide those as well. I have gotten some requests from people who don't do social media, and I fully understand that. I'm not a fan of social media, but this is information that I can't really disseminate on YouTube, which is the whole reason that I set up the Facebook page for Ground Control RC, is so I can provide you guys with information like that, like setup files and OpenTX model files. And as far as I know, I'm the only one that does that. It takes a lot of additional work to, you know, export these individual model files and publish them for download and create these setup files. So I hope it's helpful for you guys. But in the past, I have made exceptions, and I have gone to the trouble to publish those files, links to those files, to those individuals who did want to use social media. Okay, but I can't do that anymore because I just don't have the time. It creates more work for me. So I'm not asking you to use social media, but as long as you have an account where you can log in and gain access to those files to download and other information that we put on our Facebook page. I don't use social media other than providing that information on that Facebook page. You don't have to use social media to have an account to log into it. So that's what I will require that you do if you want to have access to those files, until I can come up with a better solution. But it's too much trouble to publish this information in multiple places. Okay, so I hope you guys understand that. All right, tips. I have lost a couple of planes in the past year and a half due to stupid mistakes like flying across the sun and losing the plane, or just running out of talent. So I'm a big fan of having a gyro in a plane when it's possible, when it makes sense, if for nothing else but to have that parachute. So if something goes really, really wrong, you know, whether it's a mistake on my part, I run out of talent, or in the case with one of my EDF jets, you know, setting up the plane and having the information in the manual so far off that it made the plane unflyable. Okay, so those are instances where a gyro comes in very handy. And so I would like to have a gyro in all of the planes that I have where it makes sense. This, until recently, I never installed a gyro in a plane for myself. I'd never done that before. So I have started buying, or I have been sent some gyros to test and review. I have purchased some gyros to test and review. So one of them that I have here is the Radio Link, and this is the BIME D. I haven't reviewed or tested this yet, but I just did complete the review of the BIME A, and I was very, very impressed with this little tiny flight controller / gyro. And so I have the BIME A. They sent me one BIME A flight controller gyro to review and test, and I was so impressed with it that I ordered 2 more of them, and I should have them in hand fairly soon. And I'm getting ready to review this one, and if this one works as well as the BIME A gyro, I will be ordering at least a couple more of these too for wings and park jets. So one of the things that I was lacking was S-bus receivers. So I'm going to have to acquire more S-bus receivers as I acquire more of these gyros. And then I also have the Hobby Eagle A3 Pro version 2. I purchased 2 of them. And you know, these were purchased out of our own budget. The additional by May gyros that I purchased, the 2 additional ones I purchased of those, came out of our budget. I'll talk about this plane in a minute and why I purchased this to review. But this also came out of our budget. And that's why it's really helpful if you guys use our affiliate accounts when you order something. It helps us buy things like that to review. Okay. So, and then I'm gonna put together a separate, I was gonna do it in this video, but I have a manufacturer's wish list. And I bet 10 to 1 that the vast majority of you guys will agree with my manufacturer wish list. But that is going to be so long-winded, I think I'm going to keep that for a completely separate video. Okay, so we'll pass over that for right now. In 2021, I was fortunate enough, or I should say in the last year, I was fortunate enough to be able to fly my first sport glider. And I have definitely got the bug for sport gliders now. I was also fortunate enough to fly my first EDF jet. And I've definitely got the bug for EDF jets now too. So I don't know if I will acquire another sport glider this year. I still have the Volantex Phoenix S. And I think it's a 1.6 meter wingspan that I have yet to build. I just haven't had time to build it yet. But I have the Crescendo, the E-Flight Crescendo Evolution, 1.5 meter sport glider. It's absolutely awesome. And I have the Volantex Phoenix version 2, 2 meter wingspan sport glider. And it is absolutely awesome. I've flown 3 of them. I crashed one, which is another reason why I'm looking into these gyros, was the Top RC Lightning V2. Another 1.5 meter sport glider that was absolutely awesome. I have not flown a sport glider yet. All 3 of those sport gliders that I have flown so far have been absolutely awesome. And I'm betting that the Phoenix S will be the 4th one that I've flown, will be absolutely awesome. So stay tuned for that. I don't know if I will acquire another sport glider this year, since I still have to put that one together and I want to put some time on it. I am going to acquire probably another EDF jet this year. I've got my eye on one right now. It's out of stock, or I probably would have already pulled the trigger on it. It's another military EDF jet. It's a 64 millimeter EDF, not a 50. And I also have my eye on another military 50 millimeter EDF jet. I don't think I'm going to have the funds available to purchase both of those, because I don't think either one of them are going to be sent to me for a review. So if I get those for review, I'm going to have to purchase them. So I'm probably going to have to decide on one or the other. I don't think I'm going to be able to pull the trigger on both of them. So I will probably be reviewing at least one more EDF jet this year. So look for that. I had to switch out for a bigger cup. Alright, so some additional things that are in the pipe. I already spoke about the gyros that I'm going to be installing and testing and performing, reviewing and performing test flights of. And one of the things I like is I like using these S-bus receivers with these gyros, because they, I think all of them support S-bus PPM receivers, and it requires less wiring, fewer cables, it's cleaner, it's smaller, it's lighter. So I'm going to be acquiring some more S-bus PPM receivers as well. I only had a couple, in my stock, because like I said, I'd used them for other flight controllers. I've had them for a long time. but now I've got more gyros than I have S-Bus PPM receivers. I do have 3 S-Bus receivers that are on their way for review and testing. I don't know when they'll arrive, probably within the next week or so. And then I'm going to be acquiring some more S-Bus PPM receivers. I haven't made up my mind on which ones yet to use with the OpenTX transmitter. So I'll let you know when I order them and when they're inbound. I've heard you guys, a lot of you are frustration with microplanes, and I feel the same way you do. The micro brushed motor gearbox planes they're just a ton of fun to fly, right? They're a ton of fun to fly, but they don't have the best power and they don't have the best durability, with the brushed motor and gearbox, or the longevity that you have with a brushless motor. And of course they're a lot louder than a brushless motor too. So no, I'm a huge fan, even with microplanes, having brushless motor power systems in them. So I got online and I did some research. I wanted to find a micro brushless beginner plane that was either bind and fly or ready to fly. It had to be one that had sufficient power, that had a gyro in it for stability because it's a beginner plane, and one that was going to be durable enough to be a beginner plane. And so I decided to pull the trigger on this Gyros RC Pioneer 620 millimeter wingspan brushless bush plane. Oh, the other criteria was it had to be under 250 grams to get out from under the FAA restrictions. So this is well under 250 grams. It's less than half of that all up weight. It has a 2S brushless power system. It's made out of EPP foam, which is the most durable foam I have seen yet. So the plane should be very durable. It has a 1608 3000 kV motor, I believe it is, spinning a 5 by 2.75 prop. It should have plenty of power for this little plane. So, and it has the vector gyro system on it. So I think this is going to be an excellent flying little brushless beginner plane, and it has a very good price point. It's ready to fly. So, I mean, it was completely assembled. Even the landing gear were attached to it. The only thing you have to do is put 4 AA's in the transmitter and charge up the flight battery, and you're ready to go. That's about as ready to fly as anything I've seen from the factory so far. So that's the reason I decided on this one. I was looking at 3 different micro brushless bush planes, because I think that for a beginner plane, I think the overhead wing is the best. I think they have the best stability. So I will be performing a review of this as soon as the weather permits, so look for that. Alright, so what else do we have in the pipe? The brushless conversion, the bush plane, the brushless bush plane, the S-Bus receivers that are on the way, the gyros that I'm going to be testing and reviewing. Also, I have the Eachine Flying Fish that is in the pipeline right now. And it has the dual motor setup, and it's brushless, and it's sub 250 gram. And if I remember correctly, it's also made out of EPP foam. So I think that is going to be another exceptional brushless microplane, and it is a plug and fly, not a ready to fly. But so what I'm trying to do is review some planes that I think will be very good options for those of you that have posted, that are frustrated with always only having an option of a brushed motor and gearbox. So these 2 planes are going to be in the same price range as those micro brushed motor and gearbox planes. So if these planes turn out to be exceptional flying planes, this is going to give you a couple more options for being able to get some planes that are small, that are light, that won't have the FAA restrictions that we have here in the USA, that are going to be very simple to set up and use and within the same price range. So I think you guys will be happy with that. And hopefully I'll be happy with that too. But anyway, I still have to test the WFly ET16, not the ET16, the MG216 RF module and the RG202 Pro or Mini receiver. I have tested it in the WFly transmitter, so I still need to test the RF module and the receiver with the RadioMaster TX16S transmitter, because it should work in there as well and gives you an additional option for that RF module and receiver, so look for that. I'll also be putting together a video of my favorite planes up to this point, and I'm hoping that I will eventually get to the point where every plane that I have in my inventory is going to be nothing but an exceptional flying plane. That's my goal. I can only keep and maintain and fly so many airframes. So I'm getting closer and closer to the point to where every one of them in my inventory are exceptional flying planes. So I will try and come out with that list here fairly soon. Okay. The other thing, I get a lot of requests to review a lot of different products. I talked about that earlier. Okay, well, we are a tiny, tiny YouTube channel. I mean, we're almost invisible. And YouTube spends the vast majority of its time promoting the large YouTube channels, not the small YouTube channels. So one way that you can help us, if you want us to review more items, more aircraft, go to the sales email of a vendor or a manufacturer. I think the sales department is the best place to contact them. Contact them and say, hey, we would like to see Ground Control RC review this plane. If they get enough requests, they may in fact send us that plane to review. It's all about what you guys want. You know, they want to get the planes in front of people who want to see them reviewed by the people they want to see them reviewed by. So, and I'm always humbled when anyone posts on our channel that says, I would like to see you review this plane. I would like to see you review this component. I mean, that just makes my day when somebody says that. I'm really humbled by that, you know, that somebody would actually want me to review something that they want to see reviewed. So I think that's probably the best way to do it. If you guys are members of a flying club, tell your members about Ground Control RC. Just tell them to check us out. Maybe they'll like what they see and they'll subscribe and they'll view our releases. But it really comes down to numbers. You know, the vendors and the manufacturers want to get their products in front of the most views. And that's going to be the very large, you know, YouTube channels. So as we grow, we will have more and more vendors and manufacturers that will be interested in sending us products for review. But it really just comes down to numbers. The more subscribers that our channel has and the more views our channel has, the more notice vendors and manufacturers are going to take and consider sending us an item for review. So it's all up to you guys. It's up to our viewers whether or not that happens. But you know, otherwise I'm buying as much of the product as I can to review. But we're a small channel. We have a very small budget, and so like I said, I will review everything that I can. Right now, I'm taking all of the revenue that we make from the channel, from the affiliate account, and we're putting it right back in to Ground Control RC to try and grow it. So anyway, that's where we are. That's what I have in the pipe. I want to thank all of you guys again. Without you guys, it wouldn't be worth doing it in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's the end of this episode of the Pilot's Lounge. Episode 19 is in the can now.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the air.